This is worksheet 16.4, and in this section we're solving different types of equations. So let's go and look at 26, which is an absolute value equation. To solve an absolute value equation, first thing you want to do is get the absolute value bars by themselves, without any of the other numbers. So if I want to get this section by itself, I need to subtract 7 from both sides. I also need to get rid of this 1/2. To do that, I can multiply both sides by 2. Now that the absolute value bars are by themselves, we're going to use what we know about absolute value to solve for x. This inside the absolute value, 2x minus 2, could be equal to 8, or it could also be equal to negative 8. So I'm going to write two equations and solve both of them. So on this equation I get 2x equals 10, which means x equals 5. And on this equation I get 2x equals negative 6, so x equals negative 3. Alright, next problem, number 27, we have a quadratic equation. To solve a quadratic equation, the first thing you want to do is set it equal to 0, because what you're really doing here is finding the roots, or the x-intercepts of this parabola. Let's first check if we can factor this and solve for x. Here we have a common factor of 2. So taking that out, I get x squared minus 3x minus 4. And then if we check for whether this is factorable, the top of the diamond is negative 4, the bottom is negative 3. So that does work, negative 4 and 1. So I have my complete factorization is x minus 4, or 2 times x minus 4 times x plus 1. So solving for x, I know that either x minus 4 equals 0 or x plus 1 equals 0, which gives me x equal to positive 4 or x equal to negative 1. Alright, number 28, we have an equation with fractions on both sides. Here we can cross multiply. Because we have one fraction on both sides, I'm going to cross multiply. This gives me negative 14x minus 14, because I'm multiplying negative 14 times x and negative 14 times 1, equals, this side is 1 times this is just 2x squared plus 2x. Alright, so if I continue to solve here, this is a quadratic, so I'm going to set this equal to 0. So moving all of this over to this side, if I add 14x, that gives me 16x, and then plus 14. So let's see if this is factorable. We do have a common factor here of 2, so x squared plus 8x plus 7. And then let's check if this is factorable. 7 times 1 is 7, 7 plus 1 is 8. So the factors here are x plus 7 and x plus 1. Notice here that we have two factors, but we only have one answer blank. So that's a hint here that there's actually only one solution. One of the solutions we get here is x equals negative 7, and we also get x equals negative 1. This is a case where we actually have what's called an extraneous solution. If we plug negative 1 back into this equation, the denominator becomes 0, which is undefined. So our only solution here is x equals negative 7. Alright, last equation we're going to solve here is number 30, which is a radical equation. The goal here would be to get rid of the square root. To undo a square root, you have to square both sides. So I'm going to raise this side to the second and this side to the second. If you square a square root, you're just undoing the square root. So I'm left with an x minus 1. And here I'm left with x minus 1 times itself. So simplifying here, I get x squared minus 2x plus 1. Setting this quadratic equal to 0 gives me x squared minus 3x plus 2. This is factorable. So I have 0 equals x minus 2 times x minus 1. So I have two solutions. When x minus 2 equals 0, I get x equals 2. And when x minus 1 equals 0, I get x equals 1.